Conservatism. Conservatism, as the name suggests, tries to conserve traditional values. In Western culture, conservatives usually promote the nuclear family, organized religion, the military, and property rights. Liberalism. Liberalism is usually cited as the dominant ideology in modern history. It usually likes that every single individual has his own rights, that the government has to be approved by its own people, and that everyone should be treated the same way before the law. It also likes free markets, elections between multiple political parties, a separation of powers into different branches of the government, a separation of religion from the government, a set of fundamental values written in the Constitution, privacy rights, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and freedom of religion. Moderatism. Moderatism likes to stay within what is called the Overton window, which is the range of policies politically acceptable to the mainstream population. In most cases, moderates are apolitical, which means that they don't care, but they have a little bit of knowledge about politics. Capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and their operation for profit. The central characteristics of capitalism are private property, free exchange, competition, division of labor, and social cooperation. Socialism. There are many types of socialism, making this an umbrella term. In the classical sense, socialism describes worker-owned means of production, heavily supporting worker coups, democratic self-management, and workplace democracy. Socialism in the modern age advocates workers' democratic self-management, high taxation on the wealthy, and nationalization of key parts of industry. One of its key values is social ownership. Syndicalism. Syndicalism is the son of socialism, and it believes that unionization of the workforce, the establishment of local, decentralized revolutionary worker organizations called syndicates, and advancement of workers' demands through the use of strikes and direct action are the best methods by which a socialist society should be achieved. Once a post-capitalist society is achieved, a congress or commune of syndicates would be created to represent the many unions or areas of the economy for a central government. Corporatism. Corporatism advocates the organization of society in different areas of employment, like agriculture, military, engineering, etc., which people get assigned to based on their interests and skills. It believes in a cross-class system of regulation in which the workers, employers, and state negotiate with one another in order to most efficiently run the economy and satisfy, in theory, all parties involved. It does not refer to a political system dominated by large business interests. That would be a corporatocracy. Libertarianism. Libertarianism upholds liberty as a core value, and it seeks to maximize autonomy and political freedom. It likes a very limited government. It believes in the same principles of liberalism, such as equality before the law and the basic rights to life, liberty, and property. Separatism. Separatism, also commonly known as secessionism, seeks to establish a nation, country, sovereign state, or government that is separate from an already existing nation. Communism. Communism is centered around common ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange that allocates products to everyone in society based on need. A communist society doesn't have private property, social classes, money, or the state. Feminism. Feminism aims to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes. It holds the position that societies prioritize the male point of view and that women are treated unjustly in these societies. Efforts to change this include fighting against gender stereotypes and improving educational and professional opportunities for women. Anarchism. Anarchism is an ideology that advocates for a society without rulers or constituted authority, with a focus on the notion of freedom. It advocates for the replacement of the state with stateless societies and voluntary free associations. Environmentalism. Environmentalism, sometimes called green politics, is a term used to represent a range of ideologies that fall under the belief that nature should be a significant factor in deciding public policy, be it increasing recycling, decreasing CO2 emissions, stopping water pollution, etc. Populism. It focuses on appealing to a large number of people and their sensibilities, believing that what the masses want must be what the masses get. It can take on many forms, as its only requirement is that it represents a movement by the people for the people. This causes it to have no real political affiliation. It's often associated with democracies due to its reliance on popular support. It often divides the people from the elite, and it's frequently anti-establishment and anti-politics. Republicanism. Republicanism is an ideology centered around a system of government that is non-hereditary and, in opposition to monarchism, gives political power to its citizens in a state organized as a republic. Progressivism. Progressivism says that heritage that stems from the past is not to be held sacred and should instead be viewed as less important than societal progress. It's basically the opposite of conservatism. Imperialism. Imperialism has traditionally believed a country should expand its power or influence through military action. It was once very popular, and it was basically considerable as moderatism, but it has decreased in popularity over the years. Imperialism is noted for its war advocacy and belief that the powerful nations should rule over the weaker ones. It usually defends himself against accusations of oppression by insisting that colonized people benefit because the richer nations help them and give them things they couldn't get normally. Egalitarianism. Egalitarianism is a school of thought that builds on the concept of social equality, prioritizing it for all people. As such, all citizens of a state should be accorded equal rights and treatment under the law. Transhumanism. Transhumanism believes that everyone should upgrade themselves with technology to overcome both the most basic and most complex of humanity's challenges. The ultimate objective is for all people to reach immortality and an incredibly advanced mind and body. Communitarianism. Communitarianism is an ideology that emphasizes the well-being of and the importance of the community as the primary social unit. It will typically stress the idea that the left-right binary of politics is holding politics back, as well as argue that policies from both sides of the spectrum are complementary and necessary to benefit the community. It believes that absolute individualism is harmful when it contradicts the common good. Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is a form of government characterized by strong power, which is usually central, that demands obedience to authority and limited political and civil freedoms. For example, most classic monarchies are a form of authoritarianism. The ruler of an authoritarian country imprisons and persecutes its opponents. Fascism. Fascism says that people are weak divided but strong united under the banner, whether that banner be of a state, nation, army, or anything of the like. It is authoritarian, which means that it's characterized by a controlling government that rejects the idea that people can vote between multiple parties. It involves a strong central power, which usually refers to a dictator, so it rejects separation of power. Fascism is also ultranationalist, which is the belief that a nation shouldn't care about other nations' rights as long as it benefits itself. Ultranationalism usually coexists with militarism, which is the idea that a nation should have a powerful enough military to expand national interests and values. Fascism suppresses opposition using forceful methods. It believes in a natural social hierarchy, and it promotes the refusal of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race. Nazism. Nazism is a form of fascism with a focus on its racist ideology, which says that the Aryan race is superior. It believes that the Aryan race should rule the rest of the world to make it better, thus being ultranationalist. To be classified as an Aryan by the Nazis, you have to be white, straight, mentally and physically able, non-cowardice, and non-Jewish. If you are considered non-Aryan, you are called Untermensch, which means subhuman. It also likes eugenics, a set of beliefs and practices that aim to improve the genetic quality of a human population. For that reason, people with inherited disorders are considered useless eaters and were killed or sent to camps on sight, as they were regarded as life unworthy of life. Nazism also hates homosexuals, considering them Untermensch as well. I'll be making similar videos. Subscribe to see them.